in the end. Futile!
Stabilize!
Go as one! What a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
I've stored Thelxie in the tent. He can respond to some simple verbal commands. You can try calling his name and see if he'll come over.
Whoa, sounds pretty advanced. Let Paimon give it a try. Hey, Delphi, are you there? So that's Ferminae's version of Delphi.
Yep. Had Thelxie lived in Penguin Town, he'd probably have become great friends with Pear. It's not really anywhere famous or important. Don't worry about it.
Hey, Delphi, nice to meet you. Do you know how to say hello?
I wanted to install a language output module, but due to time constraints, I had to give up on the idea. As it stands, Thelxie can only output messages that were pre-written into its motherboard. I haven't given him the ability to convert those messages into discernible words.
No need to get so technical.
No, there's no need. I have two other things I'd like your help with. The first is to do some integration testing on Thelxie's motherboard.
That doesn't sound too...
The other shouldn't take too long either.
A weapon? Well,
Thelxie will need to be able to charge forward.
what an imaginative employer! Naming Thelx...
Well, regardless of his role or species, Thelxie's purpose is the same. Just like Pear, he has come to this world to serve as somebody's companion.
Whoa, Thelxie just said something again!
He can react to certain key words, but
That's a pity. But anyway, the most...
Sounds good. The motherboard...
Dah ada motherboard kat tempat dia kan.
Ah,
Holy shit, besar
here we
gila
go.
motherboard.
I have this testing manual, so feel free to reference it if you get stuck. Want to give it a try? Okay. Huh.
Taken on a lot of similar tasks before, you know.
Then let's move on to the underwater part. It's just as I mentioned earlier. Oh, speaking of which, you're both all okay. That's good. Just let. It should be right over there. We'll be able to find something that'll help us with our search. This is it. We call this thing an echoing conch. It can detect special. Did you notice any interesting places? The echoing conch should have detected some just now. Let's go check them out. Alright, these should be enough. Let's head back to camp. Thank you for staying out here with me all this time.
Studio 7. Genau, eh. Genau, betul kan. Ke arah-arah ni. Oh, lega. Ya.
It's time to move on. We shouldn't stay here.
Gila, kat dapur bom. Oh, let's go! Daya! Fuck you, what the fuck? Oh, tak dapat Daya, tak dapat shop ni, dapat oh, dapat 3. 45 pool dia, let's go. Nak weapon baru Shield tu. Bagi siapa? Akak ni. Yippee. Ini aku buat ni. Boleh bawa belum? Dia ambil pakai bunga kesili kok. Annoying. Cukup ni.
Ah, Fremine, you're back. I thought you might have been out diving.
I'm sorry, Madame de Stray. I must...
There's no rush. I'm your employer, not your supervisor. And these two are...
Oh, they're two of my...
Yes, I see. I suppose it's only natural for some...
It's really nice to meet you, Madame Destray.
Greetings, my new friends. Just call me Zuria. You are both so adorable. The sight of you reminds me of little fairies under a cottage roof.
Oh, do you really think so?
Of course. If my child had friends like you, then perhaps he wouldn't have become so obsessed with the tales of water imps. And I would...
Obsessed with the...
So you don't know anything about my request yet? I would have thought Fremine had explained it to you already.
Well, Fremine told us that it was a private matter, so he didn't want to just share it willy-nilly.
I see. So Monsieur Fremine is even more discreet than I had thought. But it would be quite impolite of me to simply pile all of my troubles on you.
Sure, you can tell us anything.
Ah, what a lovely little fairy. Then let me think of a way to put my situation into words. Simply put, parents came up with a story, painting water imps as scary abductors in an effort to convince their children to stay away from the water. My child is rather special, however. While most other children are terrified of Thelxie, he's infatuated with him.
Infatuated? With a water imp? What a brave soul.
Yes, he told me that he thought the water imp might have just been misunderstood. In his mind, instead of singing to abduct children, the water imp actually sang out of a longing for companionship. As a result, he often goes near the water in secret.
So he wanted to become friends with the water imp so it wouldn't be lonely any longer? What a unique way of thinking.
Thank you, little Paimon. He indeed has always stood out from the crowd. He was actually diagnosed with loneliness syndrome when he was only 8 years old. It's a type of mental disorder. Those affected by it often feel extremely lonely and lose interest in many mundane activities. The syndrome is probably what made him so determined to become friends with the water imp.
Oh no. Is it a very serious disorder?
If you were to become afflicted with the disorder, Paimon, you would only be able to say less than a fraction of the words you're saying to the traveler now.
Accept that? We would have to find a doctor to help cure Paimon. Paimon has a 2,000-word quota for daily conversations with the traveler, and she won't settle for a single word less.
The family doctor has already begun to treat my son, but since the disorder is rare, there aren't many good regimens for treatment. He's also developed some new symptoms lately, such as uncontrollable delusions.
Huh? Uncontrollable what now?
Uncontrollable delusions. To put it simply, he can no longer differentiate between fantasy and reality, and spends all his time in his fantasy world.
Then what is he seeing in his fantasy world?
It's a dream that he often mentioned to me when he was younger. I've compiled what I could understand of his recent rambling. It goes a bit like this.
Oh,
Amazing! Your son came up with all of this?
But perhaps no beautiful dream can ever last.
How could the story end like this? Is that kind of fantasizing what caused your son to develop his loneliness syndrome?
Well, it'd be more accurate to say that it was the syndrome that caused such terrible delusions.
My poor child can no longer differentiate between imagination and reality. He's begun to see himself as Thelxie.
Perhaps in his mind, the loneliness he felt became the same as that of a...
What? So that's what you meant by uncontrollable delusions. Then we have to help him snap out of it.
Alas, most of the time he acts as if he can no longer sense or interact with the real world at all. I've had several discussions with the doctor, and we think it is best to try to guide his fantasy. He once wanted to make a picture book of his imaginary world, but since the disorder progressed too quickly...
So Zuri's-san also saw Thelxie as a...
What we should do now is help him complete this picture book. However, we'll need to chase away his loneliness and sorrow, and...
But if we just need to finish the picture book, why...
Because we need to treat the book's story seriously, as if it's a history of things that have really happened. We'll need to... But my child can no longer go on a journey of his own. This is what...
Ah, like a stand-in for your son! I'm starting to get it now. Oh, you...
There are some ruins on the seabed of the Salacia Plains. I've already...
Oh, so we'll just need to act out a performance of,
Sadly, no. We won't just be putting on a performance. It's just as...
so we'll be playing it straight?
It's all right. There's no need to get that serious. It's no... Keep your spirits up, everyone. We temporarily moved to a place on the hill over there, so my son will have a better spot to convalesce. It's not far from the water and...
Understood. There's also one last thing. Since these two friends were able to help me out...
That's great news. I must thank you all. All right, everyone.
Zuria sure is a brave and optimistic lady.
Let's discuss...
What is it, Fermine? What did you want to say?
If... This is the first time that you've met anyone with the syndrome. If things don't quite turn out as we wish...
Fermine, why do you bring...
It's not that I'm not a...
Ah, so that's why you looked like you knew it...
No. Please don't misunderstand. They say there are many factors surrounding the... And from the cases I've seen, there were...
What? It could get...
Yeah, that's just the nature of...
Yeah, that's right.
Really? Then in that case, let's see this real-life fantasy adventure together to the end.
Yeah! But Paimon has a question. If this, after all, we'll just be using a toy as Thelxie and some ruins as the Kingdom of Water Imps. The whole
Well, I think it should be able to do something. But if we can help him regain...
Oh, Paimon sees what you're saying.
Well, maybe because I have also...
What penguin town? Hey, what?
It's just... Anyway, Penguin Town is a peaceful place. And Pear?
Pear? But didn't you make Pear?
Well, I often think that Pear only came to me because he...
Femine.
No, I don't think so. I can still... It might just be hidden, which is why it's difficult to see.
Specific time?
Yeah.
Really? Paimon just said that because you put on your...
Have you ever observed the surface world from underwater? It's as if you're viewing a... I have a similar feeling when I put on my diving helmet.
Really? Like a miracle?
Well, if that's in order.
Hey, now's not the time! Femine still has Thelxie's weapon to make.
Right. I still have to collect some tools I'll need to craft the weapon. Thanks for all of your help.
Apa bahasa algebra ni? Oh. Ada apa? Oh, dah tu lah. Oh boleh macam tu lah. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Mak motherboard. Aku dah ada 50 lah ni. Dah dapat weapon aviar. The bow have been planted. Oh shit, kan? The bow have been planted. Well, we planted. Oh. Hmm.
Day's finally come to meet up with Zuria. Let's head over to Fermine's camp right